everybody, welcome to Everything and Anything with Kevin. Today we're making a birthday card and we're using Leif, You're My Favorite Sweet Pea, with his stamp and his outline die. And we're going to be coloring it up today with Ohuhu Markers. So I've got that image all stamped out, and then we're going to begin our coloring process. And for the skin, I'm going to be using the Ohuhu Markers in R29, R19, and WG0.5. So I'm starting with the darkest color, which is our R29, and I'm going to be going around the hairline and into the cheek area and into the tops of the ears. And then we're going over the right-hand side of his chest and a little bit into his belly button and into the bottom and to the right-hand sides of his arms. And we're also going to put that right along his bottom boot line and up to the right hand side of his legs. Next, we're going into with our R19, and we're going to add more color and go around the hairline again and then down past the sides of his eyes. And we're going to fill in the forehead a little bit more, and then around the eyelid and down in through the cheeks, right across through the chin. And then we're going to create our eye line, or our line that will shape and contain the eye. We're going to go and relayer over the color we did in the chest and bring it slightly out, as well as in the arms and in the boot and in the leg area as well. And then add a little bit into the nose and a little bit right into the face. Then we're going in with our WG 0.5, which is our lightest color, and we're going to use that to kind of blend and fill everything in. So with the Ohuhu colors, I find that it is much easier to use a 3-color blend so far. So we're going to fill in the rest of his chest area and into his arms and legs and get everything filled in with that skin tone. I really love this image, and I thought it was super cute, and this is for my neighbor's daughter who's turning 2, so I thought this card would be super cute. And of course the tongue, I used R06 and a little bit of that WG05 to blend it in. Now for the hair, we're using Y9, E220, E210, and E170. And we're starting here with our darkest color, which is our Y9, and we're just flicking in from those tips of the hair in the lines that we have drawn out. And then we're going to go from the root area and extend out a little bit as well, and we've got that white space in the middle. And then we're going in with our next marker. And here you can see I made a little boo-boo, so I erased it a little bit. So now we're going in with our E220, and we're extending out from the color we did, not going over right from the very beginning, but starting from the midpoint of where we left off with our last coloring. And what we do is just go to our next lightest color, which would be E210. And we're going to continue to fill that in towards the center of the white where we're having some highlights. Then we go in and finish with our E170. And just do that final connection on the hair. And you can go back in and deepen some of your first colors with your first marker, which was the Y9, just to add a little bit more depth back in there if you felt you've overblended some. So next up, I think we're going to be coloring the vest. No, let's do his pants. So his pants are YR10, YR5, and YR2. So we're starting with that darkest color, which is the YR10. And then we move into our YR5 and our YR2 as our last color. And just blend that in there, and if you're like me, I need to have a colorless blender right by my side when I accidentally go outside the line. So that happens, and I just go over and erase it. Now we're doing the vest. So the vest is going to be G1, G4, and G3. So I'm just starting with that G1 color and keeping it toward the edges and the right-hand side where I want everything to be darkest. Then I'm going to go in with my G4 next and fill it in a little bit further for that blend. And then we finish off with our lightest color, which is the G3. And then just make sure everything blends in nicely together. So next up, we're going to do his boots, and his boots are G1, G3, and G4, so same colors that we just used, and again, keeping it darker to the bottom and to the right-hand side of this image. And then we have his wings. The wings are going to be B070, B050, and B030. And I've started to do the outline in that darkest color, which is B070. Then I'm slowly filling in with our next color, which is that B050, and then finishing with B030 and just getting a nice little gentle blue in there. Then we've got the stem of the flower, so we're going to be coloring that in with our greens, which is G140 and G120. So we just did two colors, and of course I went back and I forgot. I'm like, wait, he needs eye highlights. So I just used a white gel pen, just add in some white highlights there and add some sparkle to his wings. And there he's all colored. So next up is our flower. And the flower, I'm using P5, P4, and P3, and we're starting with our darkest color first, and I'm just kind of doing the outline edges of the flower petals and in where I think it would be darkest. And then I'm going in with Y050 for the stamen part of the flower. Then moving on to our P4 next, so which is our lighter purple, and just adding in more of that color. And then we'll be finishing with our P3, which is our lightest, and we're going to be filling that flower all the way in. So we're keeping the colors very nice, very simple, just easy to color today. And if you want, just add a little bit more depth. Go back in, say where you want a little bit more color, and that's all I'm doing here. It's just adding a little variation into that flower and where I want to see more depth, more color, and a little bit more movement within the flower petals themselves. So next up, we're going to stencil our background here. So I'm using one of our stencils that came from Stencil Club, and I'm just taping it down onto my background image, which is an A2 card size, and I'm using Bamboo first, which is our hybrid ink from Stamp Anything, and I'm using one of our palm brushes, and I'm going to just lightly apply a little bit of background color to this card. So you can see here I've left some white space, but then I'm going to take what's left over on my blending brush and just kind of brush it in from the edges so that we've still got some color in there and not pure white. So now I'm using Distress Grit Paste, which I'm going to put on my glass mat. And we're going to be adding the reinkers directly to the grit paste to mix our own color. So I'm using the apple green reinker from Stamp Anything, and I'm adding it directly to this grit paste so we can mix up our own color. So I add a few drops, and then what you're going to do is you're going to mix that up and see if you like the color that you get. Is it light enough? Is it too dark? So if it's too dark, you would add some more grit paste, but if it's too light, you're just going to add a little bit more color. So I did decide I want it a little bit darker, so I went ahead and added a few more drops to that grit paste and just mixed it in there. And you know what? Let's make it even darker. Let's get some good color in there. And then we're going to reapply our stencil, and I've just kind of placed it on wherever I wanted because I don't want everything completely symmetrical. And I'm just adding this grit paste into certain sections of the stencil that I want some of that depth and texture to be in my background. And then here, always fun is the reveal, and we're going to set this aside to dry. So now that it's all dry, I've chosen to put it on a purple background, and I'm using our Stamp Anything glue, the 2-ounce size, just to adhere it to the background. And I have cut out some dies. These are from our retired dies. They are the woodland dies, but I decided, oh, the mushrooms would look super cute with this. And then I did cut out a 2, and because she's turning 2, my neighbor's daughter. So I'm like, oh, gotta have a 2 on that card. And so we're applying that little mushroom there just to create a little scene, and adding some of our little leaves and stuff in through this card just to create a cool, cute little background. Just wanted to keep it all light and whimsical, and her favorite color is purple. It's so cute the way she says it. She's like, purple. And I always try and wear my pink and purple hoodie over when I go over because she loves seeing it. And it's so cute to see little kids grow up. But yeah, I needed to make sure she had her own special birthday card for her 2nd birthday. So I was like, this would be perfect. And I'm like, what about a little fairy? It'd be super cute. So I'm just going to use pop dots. I love my pop dots. They're like everything to me and my life. So I'm going to pop up Leif here. And you can always see you've colored well when your color bleeds through the back. That's when you know you got a really good blend and done a good job. So put all those pop dots on there, and we'll get him on the card. Got to figure out where we're going to put him, of course. I always find taking the backs off just a little bit of a pain. I don't know if anybody else does, but getting that stuff off the back of the pop dots, it's a little hard. So we've got them in place, and then we're going to put some pop dots on the flower as well and find out where we're going to attach that. And I think it looks cute right there. And then, of course, now we're going to add our 2, and we're going to put a little bit of that leaves behind it as well. And I always love using tweezers. I just find it easier to place things, and I don't know, my big hands don't get in the way. And our glue dries clear, so that's always helpful. So if you ever accidentally smoosh outside where you're supposed to be putting something, it's okay, it dries clear. So I've just attached this base, that 2 in the same purple color as the background, and then I have a shiny 2 to put on top of it. And I just use my brother Scan and Cut to cut out these numbers. Keep it easy. I really loved how this card turned out, and she ended up loving it. So thank you very much for watching Everything and Anything with Kevin. See you next time.